Hey everyone, so we are coming up upon the summer before classes begin again. And some of us are going back as undergraduate students in our second, third, fourth year or beyond. Some of us are grad school. And there's a whole chunk of us that is starting our first year as a college student. And that can bring with it some excitement, some nervousness, especially in this time of COVID. Don't know for sure whether you're going to be online or in person. Not sure what classes will be offered, how labs will work. So today, as an upcoming junior, I wanted to share with you some tips that I found really, really helpful once I learned them in freshman and sophomore year of college. And this is really going to be the first 2 years where you get a sense of how classes are going to work, how time management is going to work, and how networking is really going to play a role in your life here and beyond. So I'm going to share with you 3 tips that really helped me my first 2 years of community college. Can also be applicable to university. So the first tip is going to be finding a way to manage time between your classes, between your studying, and your leisure time. And the last one for you workaholics, yes, you do need leisure time. I experienced that just today, the side effects of not having time to leisure and time for your mind to rest and not work on problems and issues and trying to prepare for your future. Because when you don't set aside time for that, that really can make your ability to perform in your classes and social settings and any other part of life really lagged and really uncoordinated. And the other thing is that you're going to have such a different ratio of time spent in class to time spent studying. You need to be able to be studying more, but you also need to find a way to study. And I will go over that in my next tip. But with so little time in class, you need to be able to set out a schedule so that you get enough studying done in each of your subjects. So invest in a planner, invest in an app, invest in some way to keep yourself accountable and to schedule out when your classes are, when work is, when sleep is, and when you're going to have time for leisure, because then you won't feel overwhelmed. Focusing on one task at a time is far more achievable than just focusing on 3 or 4 at a time. All right, my next tip is going to be figure out how you learn. Now, this one is probably new for a lot of you because in high school, they usually set a book in front of you, tell you to do problems from that book, and that's it. That's how you're supposed to pass the test. That's how you're supposed to memorize facts and essentially regurgitate them onto your paper or onto your test. So something that is so helpful in college is being able to know how you learn. And people actually learn in so many different ways. But there are about 5 ways people learn. And I'm going to list them off for you. So the first one is through reading and writing. And these people they retain information through reading it and through writing it. These are the people who, when they read a book and they rewrite the notes, they're able to do just fine on the test. You may be one of these people. And since this is a way of teaching a lot of high school teachers used and a lot of college teachers do use, then you are going to be pretty well set up depending on where you go. The next is going to be auditory, and these people learn best through listening. So with these people, if they're listening to a podcast, if they're listening to their professor, they're the type that can listen and do something at the same time, like doodle. So for them, studying is really up to listening to podcasts, listening to videos. That's how the information can help stick in their brain. The next way people learn is visually, and this is through diagrams. So these people are typically pretty good at math. If you can understand a diagram better than you can understand words, whether read or spoken out loud, then you're probably visual. And the last one, I know I said 5, it's actually 4. The last one is kinesthetic, and this one is one of the more difficult learning styles to work with, but it's possible. Kinesthetics learn through movement. If they're moving around while they are listening to information, if they're fidgeting, if they're able to go and do hands-on work, then the information will stay in their heads and they'll be able to not only retain it, but apply it. So figuring out which one of these styles is your style is going to help you so much and also help you cut down on time studying. There are other videos on YouTube about that subject. It's actually one thing that I'm working on. All right, and the third tip for being a freshman in college, whether community, technical, or otherwise, is certainly going to be asking for help. Raise your hand if you have a question. Even if you went to a school or if you were in a household where questions were frowned upon, you need to use this time to use your professors as a resource, because they're the ones who've been in the field before. They're the ones who were hired by the college for their level of education and experience. They're the ones who will be able to sit down with you and work through the problem from beginning to end. And many, many professors love when students ask questions because they genuinely want you to learn, because they're in a field where they enjoy what they do and they likely want to be where they are. Many professors are paid well and they are masters in their field, as opposed to high school teachers who are typically taught how to teach, but not masters in their field. They don't have as many anecdotes, they don't have as many resources, and they typically don't have as much of an interest in helping you to succeed. So please ask questions from your professors.